Today, we'll be taking a look at this GE electric dryer. We will show you how to remove and replace your mica heater. Be sure to visit ApplianceVideo.com, where you will find thousands of repair videos on the latest technology. And for a limited time, you can save big on an annual membership and take advantage of all of our premium benefits. ApplianceVideo.com. Do it right the first time. To begin your repair, you must first remove the console. Stop. Always be sure to disconnect the power to the appliance. It is also recommended to test the outlet for the proper voltage. You will need the following tools to complete this repair. To begin, you must first remove the top of the console, but if you look around, you'll see there is no screws to remove the top of the console. So it can be rather tricky. What you need to do is pull out on your knob and set it aside. There is one long Phillips screw to the left of the console centerpiece here. Just take this out. Next, you need to be very careful. I apologize if this moves. What needs to happen is we need to pull up on the console on both sides. It's held on by these kind of compression and slotted spots. So you can start on one side. This side always lifts up a little bit easier. This side over here is a little bit more difficult to get up. There we go. Lift up. We will bend it down, and the next thing we'll want to do is take off all of the wiring for your control board. I'll come back to this one. We'll sit it down for a second. This one's being a little difficult to pull off, so I'm going to go to the bottom. Use the board with just a little bit of leverage to start to pop up the terminals, but do so gently so that you do not damage anything. There we go. Got it taken off there. And set your console to the side. Next, to remove the top, you will have to remove these 3 screws here. All of them can be taken off with the Phillips bit. Set these aside. Lift up on the top, slide out, and remove and set aside. The next thing we will need to do is remove this front console bracket. Now, in order to do that, obviously we will have to push the wiring through. There's a strain reliever here and a strain reliever down here. Just pinch them with your needle nose pliers and start to push it through. One through, 2 through. Let's go ahead and pull out our wiring. Next, there is a couple of screws that will have to be removed. Here, here, here. This one, and these 3. Pay attention to what goes where, such as these metal pieces here and your console anchors. There's also one in the center that will need to be removed too. Take that out. Slide out on the metal bracket and set it aside. Next, we will have to remove the front panel here. Now there's a couple things that are holding it on, such as screws on the top, some Molexes, some screws in the middle, and screws on the bottom. What I have found easiest is to start with the bottom and move up. So I'm going to open the dryer door. I'm going to lift up the dryer and slide something underneath it just so I can get the screws. There is 2 white Phillips screws under here that will have to be removed. Take one out. Take the second one out. I'll go ahead and remove this. Next, we'll open the door. You have 2 Phillips screws here and here that you will want to remove. After we take these 2 out, let's go ahead and close it up. We have one here and here that will need to be removed, but first, let's go ahead and unclip the 2 Molexes. We will remove this one. Followed by over here. When removing it, make sure you hold up on it so it doesn't fall. Set it aside. Let's go ahead and start to pull off. Next, reach down. There's a water line connection right here. You'll have to put pressure up against it and separate. So I use my thumbs. Separate it. And set your panel aside. Now that we have the panel removed, we can now remove the drum. Now, to start, we'll go ahead and push over the wiring. You have 2 screws down here. They do not have to be removed, but it will make your job easier. So 2 1/4 inch at the top of this metal bracket. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the metal to flex over when we're removing the drum. Now, before we remove the drum, we will have to take off the belt. I'm going to slide one arm under here, one arm through the side. Push my arms in here. I will grab the idler gently and move it back. Pull the belt off the motor shaft. Allow the idler to gently move back. Pull my arms out. Next, I'm going to grab the belt. I'm going to pull forward on the drum. Start to pull it out and set it aside. Now that we have the drum removed, we have clear access to our heater assembly on the back. Now, the main reasons why you'd be replacing a heater assembly is if the unit will not heat, or it could be heating all the time, even during air fluff. Now, the things you'll want to look for is a good visual inspection, just to ensure that none of the leads here are touching metal, not touching the end of the drum, droop down, anything like that. Also, just look to see if you found anything broken. Sometimes you can see some kind of smashed up or split. It will need to be replaced. You can test the heater by going from either one of these 2 terminals to this terminal on the bottom over here to make sure you have continuity. You can also check to see if it is grounded by testing from each terminal to ground on the cavity here. So if you do have a bad element where it doesn't have continuity or it is grounded out, it will need to be replaced. First, you'll have to remove the terminals from the top, remove the terminals from the heater, and then we have 4 screws on here that will need to be removed. One here, one inside of here, here, and here. We will have to be very careful when removing this, so I will remove the terminals and then I will remove the screws and take off the heater shield on the back. So removing these, I'm going to use something just to pry them up. We'll go to the bottom. There we go. Next, we're going to remove the screws. I highly recommend starting to remove these first, since this one is not blocked by the heater. Remove these, and you can use either a Phillips bit or a number 2 square bit. I highly recommend the square bit on this so you do not lose the screws. As you are removing these last ones, make sure you hold on to the heater in some way. So I'm going to grab the top, remove the first screw, hold on to the heater, remove the bottom one, pull on out, and set your heater assembly aside. When installing your new heater assembly, it will come with all of the components on it, such as the thermistors, the heater, the rear portion for the bearing. Everything comes on this one piece. Now, to start here, obviously it can be rather difficult to line the screw holes up and hold it in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this screw at the top, followed by the easiest screw on the bottom. So get your screw inside your drill bit. We will line it up on the back wall first. Put our first one in. This will allow us to move the bottom into place. So I'm going to move it up, find the screw hole. And now we can secure the other two. Be very careful going inside here so you do not damage anything. But since we have those two already in, it will line right up. Reattach the terminals on the bottom of the element. Reattach the terminals on the top portion. Now we can reinstall the drum. When reinstalling your drum, first grab it by the belt, start to bring it in. You may have to flex the metal to get the drum in. That's why we undid those two screws. Use the belt to help hold it up. Move it in place and you'll feel the back bearing push into the slotted area. We will move the belt to approximately where it was at. Reach underneath. Now again, I will first of all locate the belt. I'm going to move the idler arm back, grab it with my fingers here, pull down on the belt. The rib side goes against the motor shaft. We'll slide it in, move the idler arm wheel around it, make sure we're underneath, let it go. Push our wiring back over. If you have to move your belt a little bit, go ahead and do so. We will reinstall the screws on the bottom. This one, I'm just going to move the metal back, reinstall. Now we can reinstall the panel. When installing your front panel, first I'm going to put a couple of threads in on the ones on the bottom. It is actually easier to take it off with them removed, but it is easier to reinstall it with them on there. So we'll get them kind of in there just a little bit. Next, we will bring in our front panel and we will line it up on those screws. It has two kind of claws that it will slide into. This will just kind of help hold it in place a little bit. Now we will reach down, reconnect our water line, so bring it in, start to pinch in and push in on your water line, reattach it. We'll bring it in, lift up on the drum to move it in, reinstall your two screws on the top. We will reattach our two Molexes while we are up here. Reinstall the two screws inside. I'll grab my box, lift up on the dryer, slide this under, tighten the two screws underneath. Close it, remove that. Now we can reinstall the console bracket. When reinstalling your bracket, you'll have the open side facing to the front. So let's go ahead and line it up here. I'm just gonna get two screws and put them in on the top. I know that these were not holding anything. This is just to kind of hold the bracket in place. Next, we will do these pieces here. These were to cause the plate to be pushed back. So we'll install this one, followed by the other side. The two mounting anchors. Those go underneath the piece that we just reinstalled. We will do the center bottom, followed by the console screw anchor. Let's go ahead and slide our wiring through. Push it through this way. We will push in our strain reliever on the top. Push in our strain reliever on the side. Now we can reinstall the top panel. When reinstalling your top, we'll start to the back. Now on here, there are a couple of slots that will correspond with this spot on the back here. So when we are putting it in, put it in here first, slide it in and drop it down. Make sure it cannot be lifted on the back. Reinstall the screws, and remember that the anchor screws go to the sides. Black screw in the middle. Now we can reinstall the console. When reinstalling your console, first we'll go ahead and put our tech manual down. It does go over to this side. what we'll do is reattach all of our wiring to start. Once all of our wiring is reattached, we will stick our tech manual back in, pop down the paper. This is just to prevent it from touching metal at the top. Now, when you are reinstalling this, one thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to push on it while sliding down, because on the sides it slides in right here, but there's kind of a push tab on each side that you will have to push in and slide down. So let's get this back up here. Make sure our wiring is in. We will push it back, start to slide down. There we go. Check the seams on the sides to make sure it's all the way in. Reinstall your center screw. Go very slow while doing this. Reinstall your knob. Now inside the knob it's a circle and it has one kind of pin that's pushing up. That will correspond to the flat spot inside of here. So look inside, find out where the flat spot is, put the pin there and push in, and this will complete your repair. Thank you for watching another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com. If you found this video helpful, make sure you click the like and subscribe to our channel.